Morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are okay on your Sunday morning. On today's show, we'll be looking back at yesterday's 1-1 draw up at Birmingham City that stops the rot for the Addicts, and we see Tyreece Campbell getting his first goal of the season. Joining me to talk about that game, first up top right, is Tash Everett. How you doing, Tash?
Morning, guys. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm recording from a Birmingham City household, but the positive is I wasn't made to sleep in the shed last night. So yeah, I'm very good.
Yeah, with that, if that Joe Rankin Costello run had ended up with a Messi type goal at the end of it, you'd been asked to just go. He probably not even the shed. You would have been given that courtesy. You've been stuck in the garden yesterday. Also, bottom right is Benji Cloak. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, morning, mate. All good. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, it looks really dark here, but the sun's coming through, so I've had to shut the curtains. But all good.
Lovely stuff. Good to see you. And also, bottom left of the screen is Tom Wallen. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm keen to see how long Benji's Wi-Fi holds out. But yeah, all good.
Like a ticking time bomb whenever we have Benji on, but he hasn't gone off in the last couple of shows, so we'll see how it goes. So on today's show, then, we will look back at the game up at Blues. We're going to hear the highlights, including the commentary of Tyreece Campbell's first goal of the campaign. We're going to hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. We're also going to hear from the man who sort of gets an assist yesterday, Tanto Olaofe. I'm still not sure if statistically it counts as an assist because he hit the keeper first, so I don't know if they're going to try and take it away from him, which would be an injustice because it was an excellent bit of work from Tanto to set up the goal yesterday for TC. So we're going to hear from him as well. We want to hear from you guys. Morning to everyone who's joined us in the chat. First one, Robert says, morning all. Me of little faith thought we would lose again. I think we should continue to use Campbell as an impact sub. Also, Miles Lieben and A. Saunders says, when the Samba rhythm starts to play. So let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game. You can email us, studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or the easiest thing to do is to go into the live chat on our YouTube stream and put a comment in there. Before we hear the goals, Tash, stop the rot. That's the most important thing. Very good point against a Birmingham side who I think only Coventry had won more home games than them this season. They've only lost one at home in 35 league games. They're very, very strong on home turf, but we've gone up there and we've taken a really impressive point.
Definitely. I would have bitten your arm off for that yesterday, to be honest. The most important thing, as you said, was not losing again. And what I think we dealt with them well in the first half. I know they were probably unlucky not to have more than one, but, we also had our opportunity with Leeburn. But that second half, I think, for me, really summed up that there really is something left in this team and that we shouldn't just be down and out and thinking that we're doomed. Like, there is something in that squad despite what's been going on recently. But no, we definitely deserved that point yesterday. I think, that performance in the second 45 was much improved. I think we'll obviously go into it in more detail, but some of the players that came in really gave a good account of themselves. I thought Tanto was absolutely everywhere yesterday, like hassling people 24/7. Anderson was brilliant. People pointed out that, look at him, he's going into a midfield against a Birmingham side who's spent, a decent amount of money and are very experienced. And he really stood up to them and put in a really good performance, and so did most of our players, so not all of them. So no, they're very impressed, and it it was very reassuring, I think, is the word that a lot of people will use after yesterday. You know, like I think after Borough, even, I didn't think that was the worst performance. Maybe a bit unlucky to not get something out of that. But yeah, we definitely deserved it yesterday. And I'm pleased that they've done that, because they've worked hard over the last couple of weeks despite what's been going on.
Excellent stuff. Well, there's a listen back to the goals then. On Charlton TV, Brownie was up there with Greg and Terry yesterday.
Kick, decent delivery. It's a header from Clara and it's gone in. Just a free kick for Birmingham, and it's the tall centre-half who rises and heads beyond Kaminsky. And Birmingham City take the lead.
Yeah, it's a very, very good delivery, but there's still an awful amount to do. That's 12, 13 yards out. But makes first contact, Clara, rises above his man. And that's an extremely accurate header from that position. Kaminsky again, a little bit rooted, didn't make a move, and he was just praying that was going to hit the bar or go wide or over. And unfortunately, it's nestled in the back of the net. And Birmingham, let's be brutally honest about this, deservedly take the lead. 11 shots, 3 on target inside the first half an hour. Been much better this second 45.
Anderson's long ball's headed down to Olaofe. Olaofe through the legs of Clara in the penalty area. Tanto Olaofe looks across, also controls. Tyreece Campbell! Charlton level! It's a brilliant assist from Tanto Olaofe. And Tyreece Campbell off the bench and gets Charlton the equaliser.
Well, we said we would improved. I like angry Olaofe. I think we need to light a little rocket underneath him every week. Since that little altercation, he has been super aggressive. I think he was a tad fortunate with that 1v1 coming out the other side, but once he did, I like the option of putting your foot through the back of the ball and blasting it across a 6-yard box. Sometimes you get the touch that goes in the back of the net. And I think there was a little bit of fortune where this ended up off the keeper and then a ricochet. But at Campbell, chest, bang, goal, 1-1. Charlton fully back in this game.
There we go. That's the goals from Charlton TV yesterday. Brownie with Greg Stubley on the commentary. Terry was there as well. He just wasn't commentating when the goals went in. I think first things first, Ben, we've got to talk about the fact that Tyreece Campbell is off the mark. I was so delighted when TC scored yesterday. It was a long time coming, obviously, but I mean, if anyone has put in a shift like TC, like TC has worked so hard for this team this year, and he's needed a goal and an assist or something along those lines, and he's got one now, and I really hope he'll kick on from that. But it was just a great moment for us.
Yeah, really pleased for him, because he's come under some criticism, and I get it, because we suddenly expect these players to. We're now in the championship and we turn up to every game wanting us to win. And as fans, we sometimes forget that these players are young, especially that front line, and being told to play a lot of games because we're missing players in those positions. And we're suddenly expecting a 22-year-old in Campbell, a 22-year-old in Leeburn to go, come on, I thought you'd jump into the championship, say a light, and you're going to be fine. Like, there are times where he is going to miss chances. There are times he's going to make the wrong decisions. Of course, he's new to this level and he's a young player. And we're asking him to do a lot of work. We've asked him to play at wing back. We're asking him, not many of our players, we say, right, take us up the pitch. We'll give you the ball, take on a few men. He's getting man-marked a couple of times. Yes, he has missed some good chances. Yes, he's made some bad decisions. But of course he is going to. But one thing is constant. He worked very hard in games. And you could even see that on Tuesday night against Borough. I thought he tried to create some stuff and they were doubling up on him. He's a nuisance for defenders. And when you have Tanto the other side yesterday, obviously when Tyreece comes on, you've got Tanto, as they said in the commentary, looked so angry, but at it. It was just like, there you go, you get the right balance. And last year we had Small having that balance with him. This year we haven't been able to make that happen. But yeah, there you go. I thought the way the chance, you could say, oh, anyone could score that, but he could have easily have, like, with not much confidence at the moment, laid that off to someone else, but he quite instinctively one touch and then bang into the goal. You just felt really pleased for him because we want him to do well. It's like, I get our fans get frustrated, as I said, but he's one of our own. He's come through. He's given us like some really good times last season. We can see what he's got. I think that's probably the fans' frustrating bit. We know the ability he's got. I mean, he scored some great goals last year where he ran for a little bit, cut inside and curled it into the corner. We know he's got that in his locker. And something like that, if that can give him a boost now, it gives the whole team a boost because, as I said, the defences are scared of him. They double up on him. They know a nuisance he is. But, yeah, I mean, he's come off the bench yesterday. It worked all right with Liban and Olaofe. Obviously, they had a few chances themselves. And reminded me of the Ipswich game when he came on and he played so well then. So, yeah, really, really pleased for him, and hopefully this can kick him on now.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear the Nathan Jones interview later on, his staunch defence of Tyreece Campbell and what he's done for the team and the club, it was really worth listening to. Like, and you can tell how passionate Nathan is about it, because my question to Nathan was something along the lines of, "You must be pleased for Tyreece," and it was as if I said, "Well, it's about bloody time," like, because he defends his players so much, Nathan Jones, and yeah, make sure you hear that. Deputy Dan says, what I keep telling people is Tyreece is being played out of position, so naturally he's not hitting the back of the net every game. Stick with him and he will deliver. Shirt, he says, fair play to him for our goal yesterday. Now to kick on. All hell let loose, says opposition fans always highlight Tyreece Campbell as our main threat. Mark says, so happy for TC. It's clear to see he's had a hard week after getting dogs abuse from his own fans, which was bang out of order. Well, happy to see him shut him up. Yeah, Dudley says sadly it looked like TC didn't feel like he could celebrate with his own fans. Like, I mean, he's been under some real pressure from the fans at times, Tom, because obviously they want more end products from him. So maybe it's an indication that I still think maybe his confidence over the last few weeks has been quite low because of that. And now he's scored a goal. He doesn't want to make a big deal of it. He's just like, right, I've got to get another one. I've got to do some more. And hopefully he'll understand that. The fans, whilst there has been some impatience, I think overall people are behind him because they know what he is capable of if he can get his head down and start taking those chances.
100%. I was very critical of him on Thursday's show, largely for him bottling that challenge, which I still stand by. That's what he did with the Borough defender that led to their goal on Tuesday night. And I think, these players should be criticised when they don't do things right, but equally they deserve praise when they do. And me criticising him on Thursday wasn't because I don't want him to do well. I was so delighted for him to score yesterday. I think Nathan Jones did the right thing by taking him out of the starting 11 because his impact has dropped in recent weeks. But as you say, there are circumstances, mitigating reasons behind that. He's a very young player. He's being asked to play out of position. I think in the Nathan Jones interview, he talks about how much running he has to do. And that consistency is something that takes time to get. But as Benji said, I think the frustration is exactly that we know what he's capable of and he's just not delivered it quite enough this year. And what was it, 31, 32 goals without a goal or an assist? Sorry, games without a goal or assist. It doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're not impacting games enough, then you're rightly called into question. I thought he looked much better yesterday when he came on. And I hope that rest maybe did him good. And yeah, I'm delighted. I'd love to see him kick on now and continue to build because we need our strikers to score goals. We've talked about all of them, really. And obviously to get him off the mark now, I think that's all of them have got a goal at least. So hopefully they can start to get a bit of consistency now. So yeah, I think some of the criticism's been fair. I think some of it potentially over the top, but yeah, I couldn't have been happier for him yesterday. It was thoroughly deserved, as was the whole performance, as Tash said earlier. To get that point, I thought was the right result.
Yeah, Paul says Tash's arms must ache the amount of time she threw them up in exasperation yesterday. Second, you can answer that in a minute if you want, Tash. But the second half, like when we got the goal, like you just heard on the commentary clip there from Brownie that we had improved in that second period. We're pressing harder. We seemed to lose a little bit of fear. I think Nathan Jones said something along those lines. So there was definitely something. It felt like something was coming in that second period.
Yeah, for sure. I think me sticking my arms up was definitely in the first half when it was just, and I'm not pinning the blame on anyone here in particular, but just that same ball that kept going up over the top to Leeburn. And then because Leeburn would get muscle off the ball, he wouldn't win the header, and then it would just recycle. And it was just every single time that was happening in that first half. I think that was my response from memory. Sometimes I do it, I don't even realise. But no, I agree. I think that second half, we just came out and looked completely different. And that has happened quite a lot under Nathan Jones, where I think what happened against Borough is the most recent example where that first half you think we ain't getting anything out of this. And I think the main thing for me yesterday actually was, for the love of God, do not go in 2-0 down at half time, because you're just going to repeat the same thing that happened at Borough and that happened at Stoke and happened against Southampton, where it's quite hard for us at the moment to see that we're going to score more than one goal. I think we will once we have bodies back and once we get some confidence back. I have no doubt about that, because we know we can do it. But right now, so you go 2-0 down, that is a big mountain to climb, particularly as we touched on Birmingham at home. They are very difficult to beat. As the guy said on the pod the other day, into Mount at home, into the bin away from home. So the fact that we went in at 1-0, I thought, okay, no matter what I think about that first half, there is something that we can get something out of this game. And to be honest with you, for the first 25 minutes of that second half, it was only going one way, in my opinion. We done very well to keep them out as much as we possibly could in the first half. I thought that goal that we actually conceded in the end was actually quite soft, because we done quite a lot, that very hard work. Some of the chances they had, I mean, Damari Gray was being a nuisance on that left-hand side. Like, they hit the woodwork. Like, there were so many times where I think they probably deserved a goal, but they obviously didn't get it. And then the one that we did give away was slightly frustrating. But in that second period, I think we really reduced that. Like, don't get me wrong, they did still have opportunities. I'm not discrediting Birmingham, because I think they are a good side, and unfortunately for them, they just couldn't finish yesterday, which I think is a bit of a reoccurring trend for them, where as every time they break, they look dangerous. And yeah, I probably was throwing my hands up in the air there thinking, oh God, what's going to happen? But actually, they're not great at finishing. Like Kyogo, who came on yesterday, hasn't scored in the league, I don't think. And he's someone that really should be scoring at this level. So I think they can share our frustration on that front. But yeah, went in 1-0. And then as soon as we get the equaliser, I'm thinking we could actually win this. I didn't expect us to. I wasn't being over the top and thinking, no, we must go on and win this now. But there was that part of me that thought, no, we can, because we are creating a lot. As we've said, and all the fans on social media was saying, like, that Rankin Costello dribble in that second half was ridiculous. And I wish that the way he pulled it back had paid off, because he was just unlucky that he read it wrong, or the people that run it onto it read it wrong. But, we have that in us, and we have those players that will surprise us and do that for us. So, yeah, I think that second half felt so much better. And, I've already touched on it, but Anderson did amazingly yesterday. Fuller really impressed me. And just, yeah, I think now that Oxford game, I'm sure we'll come onto it, but I feel so much better about that now and going into this period of games, because if we'd have lost that yesterday, which we could have done because they had many chances, if we'd have lost that and then we're going into the Oxford-Portsmouth period, then the pressure is really on to win those games, or at least get something out of those games. I'm not saying by any means that the pressure is off, but I think it's probably feels a lot better now as a whole. I think we all feel a lot better after that yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I came away from that really, really pleased yesterday. Partly because the rock was stopped, partly because, particularly second half. Even there were a couple of bits in the first half where I was like, right, actually, we're looking like Charlton again. Like Nathan Jones's Charlton with the press in and all that sort of stuff. It's interesting because I felt under pressure at times. Sort of towards the end of the game, it felt like they had a lot of momentum. Birmingham City, obviously, they had in the first half, but again, in terms of like actual chances, they've hit the post and the bar from outside the area. I mean, that's what you'd sort of call like a excellent play by them, rather than us giving up easy chances, which is good. I mean, and then you look at the actual stats that are rolling across the screen. 24 shots, but their XG is actually relatively similar to ours. So it does sort of suggest a lot of those shots were coming from outside the area. Touches inside the box, they had 22. We had 15. So actually, we defended our box pretty well by that regard. As Normie says, they hit the woodwork twice, and he says it was a great save from Kaminsky from the free kick. I'd say it was a decent save, but it was Kaminsky's side, so you expect him to make that. Paul says, Gray hitting the post and the crossbar, fine margins. We rode our luck a bit, but as the saying goes, you make your own luck. Deputy Dan says, key yesterday was to stop the rot, and it feels like we have done a job now is to kick on against Oxford. Tash mentioned their goal. It was a weird one because obviously Clara just seemed to rise completely above I thought it was Gillespie, but then when you watch it back, I mean, I'm surprised we didn't make a bit more of this. But he had two hands on his back, Gillespie's back, to hold him down. I feel like, I don't know, maybe you're saying Gillespie's got to get up, but at the same time, when you've got a massive Austrian man on your back like that, it does impede you from jumping. Ben, do you think there's anything in that? Am I? I mean, Nathan didn't mention it, so maybe I'm clutching at straws here. But when I watched it back, I was like, you know what? If I'd seen that at the time, I might have made a bit more of that.
Yeah, I thought it was Ramsey, to be fair, actually. I mean, Joe Lloyd kind of puts his hands to Ramsey and like, kind of, why didn't you jump? But I guess at the time he didn't really see because, as you said, he was on his back. It's a tricky one to kind of, we can look back at highlights and dissect it a little bit, but in real-time play, it looks just a great cross and a great header into the goal. As Tash said, it was a bit fortunate because their shots were coming outside the box and we were defending really well as a unit to stop them having chances in the box. But yeah, you got to say, what a great header into the corner of the goal. Wow, like pinpoint. Kaminsky didn't have a chance with that. But yeah, frustrating one to concede because we have conceded a bit from set pieces lately. The first goal against I don't know, we had so many games lately. Is it the header from
we had
Southampton?
A header at Coventry.
Oh, Coventry.
Yeah.
Ellis Simms' header, yeah, where we all kind of stood there and watched, and he just like jumped on his own and headed it in. So it was worrying to see, but yeah, I think we look at it a little bit more. We kind of think, was that not given? But wasn't much of confrontation from our defence to the ref to kind of say, are you joking? How is that allowed? So yeah, frustrating again to see that happen, but yeah, oh well.
Yeah, Clara pinned Gillespie. Yeah, so Dudley says it was Gillespie as well. So I think Ramsey was behind behind Clara. Gillespie was ahead of him. He rose, he's big guy, Clara, rose above him, but he definitely had two arms on Gilly's shoulders, which I in hindsight, I thought could have been a foul. Energized says that was a good battling performance, but has shown in the last 5 games we just don't have the same impact in transition. We're far too slow on the break. Birmingham looked dangerous every time. And Shirty says the second half was much better after being a goal down, and that sitter from Leeburn in the first 45. And we can't gloss over the fact that was arguably one of the worst misses that we've seen for a little while there from Miles Leeburn. So Allsop's played the ball out. Great bustle and hassling from Tanto to win the ball when he's left it a little bit short by the corner flag, and a good ball back inside to try and catch the keeper out. Now, Allsop has made himself a presence and tried to put Leeburn off, but at the same time, with the benefit of hindsight, the ball was rolled beyond the goalkeeper by the time it's come to Miles Leeburn. All he has to do is put it in, and he's put his head in his hands. He knows that's a bad one. It's a bad miss, and yeah, when you're a side that isn't creating as many chances as you want, then you can't really be missing ones like that, Tom.
Yeah, I think you're being generous about that keeper there. Miles just has to score. It's as simple as that. And as you say, we don't get a lot of chances. So when that happened, I was like, okay, it's going to be one of them days, and we're going to rue that. And ultimately, obviously, we didn't. And fair play to Tyreece for doing that. But as I said about Campbell on Tuesday night, the strikers have to be criticised when they're not doing their job. And Miles Leeburn's job is to score goals. And when you're have it on a plate 6 yards out without the keeper there, you just have to be scoring. It's as simple as that. But look, he knows that. I thought he was better again yesterday. I was pretty disappointed in him on Tuesday night, and I've been pretty disappointed with him at large parts of this season, really. Although what Tash was talking about earlier, I don't think we play to his strengths in terms of lumping it up and just expecting him to hold it up and do everything. I think he's good with the ball at his feet and turning on the ball and running towards defenders. But he's got to do a bit of that himself as well. We talked in the early part of this season about the strikers not having a lot of the ball at all. And partially that was down to the way we were playing, but partially that's up to them to get more involved in the game. And I do think there was an improvement from him yesterday as well. And actually in the second half against Middlesbrough, both him and Tyreece, I think we said it on Thursday's show, were better in the second half against Borough on Tuesday night as well. So maybe the rocket that Brownie was talking for Olaofe, maybe Nathan Jones gave them one at a half-time at Borough, because I thought they were better then. And they were better overall yesterday, particularly in the second half yesterday. But yeah, as chances go, look, it's just a sign of a team that don't create a lot of chances, right? So if he's getting chances like that every week, he's tucking them away, no problem. But when you're sort of feeding off scraps, your consistency drops a little bit. But as I say, overall better. But a bit like Tyreece, really, you just need, even if you're not scoring every week, a goal every 2 or 3 games just to keep yourself in that habit. And obviously, it's been a little while for Miles now. But yeah, a better overall performance. Ultimately, he has to score that. And who knows how the game then would have gone. But yeah, exactly as Norman's saying. I think, I don't know if it was just, he just hadn't had chances for a while. So yeah, overexcited, whatever, out of practice, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Miles. Norman said in the chat, Miles has to tried to smash it in when he just had to guide it in. And yeah, he said he thought maybe he got too excited because he thought he was definitely going to score. Paul says, I've not been impressed with some of the refs at this level, but so much happened at set pieces at this level in a blink of an eye. They're almost bound to miss something or some of the blocking and the pinning. One thing I was worried he might not have seen clearly because it could have ended with a very different decision. But the incident then that Brownie referred to that sort of lit a fire underneath Tanto Olaofe. When Ryan Allsop, I mean, we can't exactly talk about goalkeepers going down when nothing's happened because we do it every week, but in a slightly different situation, trying to get someone sent off here. So Olaofe's gone in for a header. Keeper's got there first. Fair, it's one of those things. Then while Olaofe's down on the ground, both the keeper and the defender are towering over him and giving him a bit of stick. Tanto, he just stands up basically. And he doesn't even touch Allsop, and Allsop throws himself to the ground to try and imply that he'd been headbutted by Tanto Olaofe. Ends up with Olaofe getting booked. I'm not really sure what for, because all he did effectively was stand up. And Allsop got booked for diving, which was like one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen, Tash.
I mean, the reason I'm laughing is because all the Birmingham fans I know were absolutely convinced that Tanto should have been sent off. They said to me, "You should have had a red card." I said, "For what?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Oh, Tanto, you're a striker. Like he grabbed Allsop by the throat." I said, "What?" I mean, I said, I know that when we're watching games of football, you are slightly biased towards your team, right? But I was like, for life of me, I did not see that happen. It was literally right in front of the away end, right? But my impression of it was, I mean, I thought nothing had happened, right? And then all of a sudden, someone's obviously said something's happened there. And he looks really annoyed, which I've never seen Tanto like that, particularly not that up close. I wouldn't have wanted to be Allsop. And then Allsop, as soon as he does that, goes like that with his face and sort of like, goes on the floor as if he's been shot. And I'm sat there thinking, nothing's happened. I don't understand what they're complaining about. I literally, for life of me, can understand it. But as Brownie was saying afterwards, that seemed to really light something in Tanto. I mean, he was having a good game anyway, and my God, he really was like, right, I'm going for it now. I'm going to annoy you guys. So long may that continue, because I thought that was brilliant. But sometimes I agree. I was baffled that he'd been booked first. I mean, Allsop did get booked in the end, but there was a period where it looked like he wasn't going to be booked. I thought, you're actually kidding me? Like, am I watching the same football game as this guy here? And obviously, all the Birmingham fans were loving it because they were laughing at the fact that Tanto had been booked. And then quite quickly afterwards, when Allsop got booked, they quickly shut up and were also laughing about it. Like, all right, fair enough. But no, completely bizarre. It was something that had been made out of nothing. But in my opinion, and I'm not going to badmouth Blues for doing it because you got to play the game. I think there's probably an element of them thinking, let's wind this guy up. Let's wind Charlton up. Let's get one of them sent off, because that's what you have to do sometimes in these games when you're under the pressure, which they were at that point. And I think there was a little bit of that, but thankfully Tanto, as much as he stood up for himself, he didn't get brought into it. So I thought fair play to him, because he easily could have lost his head in that situation. But yeah, just very funny to me. I just don't understand what they're on about. But anyway, I'm glad he didn't get sent off anyway.
Yeah, well, Tanto should get angry more often, Dudley says. And Shirty says fair play to the ref in that incident. Allsop was a disgrace. Right, let's have a listen to my interview with the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, after yesterday's draw up at Birmingham City. Nathan, a very good point here today.
Yeah, it was. And it was important that we kind of stop the bleed, if you like, because, as I said, there's context behind everything. As we said, we've done, with a new side to the division. 18, 19 months ago, 19th in League One. We've come up. We've been really competitive. We've been top 6 pretty much all season, and then we've lost 6 big players for us. I mean, big players, not just squad players. These are starters for us. And then it's coincided with the toughest run you can have. You know, Stoke are in good form. We played, I think, the top 4, 3 of them away. Come to Birmingham, who are, you know, a fantastic football club, spent a bit of money of stuff. So it's come at a real tough period for us. But we've had to stick in there. You know, against Middlesbrough, second half we were much more like us, and today we were much more like us. And as I said, that should set us up in coming weeks, so that we can get back on that even keel. Because as I said, we've had a real difficult run of fixtures, and that's coincided with real big injuries for us.
Everyone, I'm sure, will be delighted to see Tyreece Campbell off the mark today.
Yeah, but you have to realise with Tyreece, which I said in the press on Thursday, this is a young kid that's come into, this is his first year in the Championship, and this kid does everything we ask of him. He's played up front. He's predominantly a left winger. You know, we've converted him to a front man. We've converted him to a number 10 in how we play. Then he's had to play left wing back because of all the injuries we've had down the left hand side. So this kid is grafting for this football club. So when people get onto him and say he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he's doing plenty for this football club. When we get everyone back, that kid will play in the position to, and he's going to fly. The kid's going to fly. His pace, his power, he's got technique. He wants to do it. South East London kid. Honestly, this it's brilliant to see him on the thing, because he's, you know, but we haven't been able to give him a rest. We haven't been able to. We've had to put him at left wing back and says, look, can you do 12k up and down with 1,000 metres high speed running? And he does it. And then he's been the main presser. He's been everything. And he's done fantastically well. The last time we were able to give him a rest and pull him out was Ipswich away. We won 3-0, and he was electric for half an hour when he came on. And today he was much better and got his goal. So I'm proud of him. Really proud of him.
Yeah, it's immediate reaction as well. But you can feel, again, in that second half, Charlton was still well in that game.
Look, to be fair, Birmingham have a lot of possession and they have a lovely way of playing. They're well coached, but we had the big chances today. I mean, Lieben has to score that goal. It's point blank, has to score, and that's the difference what we haven't been doing. Middlesbrough, in midweek were bang clinical, like in terms of what they do. If we're that, then we win today, because they've had more possession. But I thought we had the big chances of the game. And then, to be fair, to break the deadlock, it's been a header that's magnificent element of fortune, but it's taken a hell of a header to break the deadlock.
Because you don't concede many goals from set pieces, really, so it's a bit of an outlier.
Well, yeah, but at the minute everything's happening to us, in terms of that. When you look at Lloyd Jones almost going down, and we've had to, do so much just to keep him on the pitch in terms of stuff. So at the minute you feel like, but that feels like a little bit of a change today. It feels like the wind has changed a little bit. Now next week we get 1 or 2 back, and in the coming weeks we're going to get 1 or 2 back, and then we'll be a different animal, a totally different animal.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the Lloyd Jones situation. What actually happened to him? Was he being told he had to come off and then he stayed on? What was the situation?
Well, we needed to find out if he was concussion, which he wasn't. He was feeling sick. He got a bang. He was feeling sick. So I had to find out clarity on it, because he's a mainstay. He's a big player for us. So to take him off as a precaution, we ain't in that position. We're in the trenches here. So, and he didn't want to come off. He did not want to come off. But we had to do the protocols, and it wasn't concussion. So that was the thing. But he felt sick. But these are warriors, and he proved that.
Just wanted to ask about Croy Anderson in the middle of the park today as well. What did you make of him?
To be fair, anytime we need a ball winner or aggression or a real, to know that we're probably gonna have less possession than the opposition, then he's a real good player to bring in. That's why we know we don't let him go out for his own development. We keep him in because we know he's going to contribute to us, and I thought he was brilliant today. Middle of the park, goes about. He has to learn, because if he wants to get to this level and get to the levels of some of the midfielders at this level, then technically he has to improve. But 20 years of age, and with the athleticism he have, the desire, the bravery. I thought he was brilliant today, because I thought second half we really came into the game. We stepped onto them. We were much more aggressive. No fear about the press or anything. And that was more like us. That was the first time in about 4 or 5 games that we've been us, totally us, and that gives me good heart.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the River. See you soon.
Well, welcome back to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Just before the break there, we heard from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, on yesterday's point. Like I said, impassioned defence of Tyreece Campbell and what he's done for the club. I mean, it's interesting some of the running stats he put out there. I mean, these are things you don't really think about, but it's sort of something about running 12k and doing 1,000 meters of high energy sprinting or high speed sprinting. Like that's stuff you don't even think about. But the burden on a player like Tyreece Campbell to have to do that every week as well, it's massive. It's absolutely massive for him. I did ask about Karoy Anderson in the middle of the park as well there, Tash. He came in. So effectively his first championship start, because obviously, unfortunately, with the situation last weekend when he had started against Portsmouth, it's now his first championship start. Energy, everything I sort of said at the start of the season that I'd expect we see from Karoy Anderson in games exactly like this, ones where we're not going to have a lot of the ball, but we're going to need to do some running in the midfield. He'd be perfect for that, and he certainly looked like that on yesterday's game.
For sure, that energy is something that, as you just said, we've massively been missing. I feel like there's been loads of times, I'm not going to criticise midfield too much because they've brought us a lot of good moments this season, but there have definitely been times when I'm thinking we just look a little bit sluggish and not, every time we get the ball in that midfield, that lack of connection between that and then going forwards, or it just slowed down every single time. But Karoy's had to be patient. Last season, he obviously played a lot more than he is now, but even then he wasn't getting in the side all the time. And obviously he's come up to the Championship. I thought that maybe he could have gone on loan or to get some more minutes or whatever. And he's had to be very patient, and credit to him, because it can't be an easy situation where all you want is you just want to get on the pitch and you want to do that. And obviously he's now been given that opportunity and he's grabbed it with both hands. Obviously, as you said, we couldn't see enough of it last Saturday with the Portsmouth game for obvious reasons. But yesterday, I thought, as I touched on before, he did not look out of place at all in that game yesterday. It'd be easy for him to come into that with the lack of Championship experience and just be swallowed whole in it. And quite the opposite, to be honest. I thought he did a really brilliant job and made a really good account for himself. I thought I've just seen actually that he got player of the match yesterday, and he thoroughly deserves it. There are a lot of times that he was frustrating. I think sometimes our midfield haven't been quite, this is just my opinion, but haven't been quite front-footed enough in trying to win the ball back and this, that and the other. But Karoy was at them yesterday and really, really did try to break up their patterns of play, which is really good to see, and was frustrating them. And I hope that he takes a lot of confidence in that performance yesterday and that he can do that, because that team is not something to, ignore. They are a good side. They've got some very good experienced players in there, and if he can match them, then the sky's the limit. Obviously we can take it game by game. I'm not expecting him to be like Zidane, like his name, but he is very good, and I'm pleased for him. I'm pleased he had that opportunity, and it's been obvious from the beginning when Nathan Jones came in after that game at Derby where he scored that really important goal. He likes him. I think he really loves Karoy. I think he's one of the players that he really sees something in, and I trust Jones to have good judgment on that front, and I agree with him, and I'm glad that he's got his opportunity, and long may it continue.
Shirty says Anderson, man of the match yesterday, the player you need in a game when you have to graft and fight for a result. Superb yellow by the dugout on Stansfield late on. That was so funny, man, when Stansfield was getting away and Karoy made a genuine attempt for the ball by diving and rugby tackling Stano by the touchline. He was fuming as well. But I think it was Fred on Twitter pointed out it was great to see the entire dugout come out to support Anderson as well when Stansfield was getting a bit shirty after that, 50-50 challenge that Roy Anderson won on the ball. What we haven't really spoken about yet, actually, the Lloyd Jones situation. So I did ask Nathan Jones about it. And he further clarified later on in the press conference as well, and said he was being sick, and if we had to tape his mouth shut, we would have done. But it was very hard to tell what happened. So something had happened in the middle, some sort of aerial clash. Lloyd's gone down, walked over to the touchline near us. We were worried about happening. No, so in fact, the game was going on, wasn't it? Oh no, that was on the near touchline. But then Kaminsky went down. So, but basically, Lloyd came over to the touchline in front of where we were in the press box, standings up, and then all of a sudden he's down on his haunches, and we couldn't see. I genuinely thought he was having some sort of fit. I was really scared actually because the paramedics came out, and then Henderson asked the goalkeeper to go down so we could stop the game because obviously there was something seriously wrong there. And then it looked like Adam Coe was saying to Lloyd, "You can't continue." But Nathan came over and then he did continue, and he said it was sickness rather than concussion. So it was a really strange situation, Ben. I mean, it didn't seem to have any ill effects after that. But yeah, I wasn't really sure what was going on there. Nathan said it was sickness.
Yeah, it was quite funny seeing Nathan run down the touchline. I was thinking, what is happening? Where's he going? Or did he want to come on or something? But I mean, how many times do we need to speak about Lloyd on this pod? He's just an absolute stalwart for us now, a mainstay in our defence. As Nathan said in that interview afterwards, we're a bare bones there, aren't we? I mean, Laka Tabua come on at the end yesterday. Nice to see a youth player come on and help us defend our lead get a point at the end there. But yeah, I mean, you just see his leadership, Lloyd, the way he's pointing at defenders to be where they are. He holds that defence together, the amount of aerial duels he wins, and he's playing against good strikers. I mean, Jay Stansfield, whether you like him or not, he's one of the top goal scorers in the league. They had that big guy up there yesterday, Dooch, and he's done well against him. And lately, look, their confidence has been down. We've conceded quite a lot of goals lately, but they defended well yesterday. And they come out and they scored from a good header. But other than that, their shots were outside the box. So, yeah, to play through when you're being sick, I mean, let's all think about that as fans. I mean, come on. We wouldn't want to do anything when we're feeling like that. So to carry on and say to Nathan, no, I want to keep playing. And obviously he was captain yesterday as well. It's just a massive respect to the guy and what a player he's been from us. Obviously he's had his injury worries last season, but this year he's playing through it. I mean, the Middlesbrough game, the Southampton game at the end of that, I couldn't believe how he then ended up playing on the Tuesday night because he could barely walk at the end. So he is properly playing through that pain barrier for us. And yeah, and as a captain, he's shown what a leader he is as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, I says what a man Lloydie Jones is. We'd be lost without him for sure. Norm says, yeah, this was a weird situation in the second half. So as Lloyd and Lyndon Dykes went up for a header, both went down, that neither of the medical teams came on, but the ref still made them both go off. It was a bit weird. So I'm not really sure why that happened as well. I think we briefly mentioned it earlier, Tom, but Joe Lionel Messi ranking Costello, that run on the left-hand side. I mean, that came out of absolutely nowhere, didn't it? But imagine if he just pulled it back just a slightly behind Doherty, because if that had led to a winning goal, I mean, that'd be one of those cult moments you talk about forever, like the time that Danny Hilton killed that ball dead with the control in the Johnson Paint game or whatever it was last season. And that was just, it came out of absolutely nowhere. But, you know, a little moment like that, Joe probably needs something to sort of announce his arrival at the club, because he's had a very sort of stop-start, you know, beginning to his career with us. So, I mean, that was a nice moment.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot, haven't we, about what to expect from him when he gets game time. That certainly wasn't on my bingo list for JRC, but fair play to him. It reminded me of, was it Bataka that did it up at Rochdale or somewhere, took on like the entire team and then
hit the post.
Yeah. And then again, it was a bit like that. I thought, oh, if this goes in, that'll be wild. But you're right, and like Leroy the other night, you know, comes on second half, first thing he does, puts that massive challenge in, and then goes on and has a good 45 and then a good 90. So maybe something like that for Rankin Costello might do the same. And as you say, kick on a little bit. I think he's almost become a bit of a joke figure in as much as he's not playing. But as I think somebody said in the chat when we were discussing him a little while ago, this is a good, solid championship footballer, and he needs that respect, because the fact he's not playing is not because he's not a very good player. He just hasn't had the opportunity, sadly. So, yeah, when he came on, I was pleased to see him. Obviously, put a shift in, did that run, but most importantly, made sure that we got out of there with the point that we deserved. So, yeah, be interesting to see if he gets more game time. We've talked a lot about all the games we've got. Obviously, Oxford, Portsmouth, Norwich, Coventry, Blackburn, all within the next couple of weeks. There's obviously the rearranged Portsmouth at some point as well, all before the FA Cup game. So, yeah, there's a lot of games coming up, and as Jones says, we're down to the bare bones. So maybe he'll get more game time. And as I say, based on the cameo he had yesterday, I think that's deserved.
That run
alone.
Yeah, Norman was talking about his yellow card as well. So Allsop has the ball, and there's a real danger of a break for Birmingham City. But Joe Rankin Costello, in the spirit of reconciliation after the incident with Tanto and Allsop, he's like, you know what, I'm going to give you a big hug right now, and stopped Allsop from taking the ball up the pitch, and that was so funny. We picked up 2 very funny yellow cards yesterday, but they had one on, I think it was on Doherty. Later on, I can't remember which player it was for actually, but yeah, they had one on Doherty. Newman, there it was Newman as he was breaking over the halfway line. So it's not like we were the only team doing it. But yeah, there we go. Let's have a listen to the man who was involved in that stramash with Ryan Allsop, where he literally did nothing. Tanto Olaofe, caught up with him after yesterday's game up at Birmingham City. Tanto, feels like a really good point here at Birmingham. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, definitely. To go 1-0 down, it's not an easy place to come to and, react and get the point. And I thought we dug deep to the very end. A point away from home is always a good point. So we just need to build on that.
Yeah, obviously, 5 defeats on the spin coming into that. I feel it's important that you get something at least.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough game. Every game in the Championship is a tough game, and we knew we needed a reaction as well. So a point was the bare minimum that we needed today. And hopefully we can this will be the turning point, and our next games are at the Valley, and just pick up 3 points from there.
Everyone wants goals and assists. I'm hoping they don't take it away from you because it hit the keeper first, because it's a great assist if you do get that.
Do you know what? Hopefully it's an assist. I don't know, but I think what's most important is that we got our team back into the game. TC done, he was in the right place, right time to put the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, it showed great team spirit just to keep fighting to the very end.
What's going through your mind then as you see that defender coming out at you? You think, if I can get it past him, there's plenty of bodies in the middle? Yeah,
as an attacker, you got to be positive. Like, sometimes you're going to lose the ball, sometimes you're going to beat a man. And, I thought like it was a perfect opportunity to take him on 1v1. And I managed to, poke it through his legs and get around the other side and just hard and low across the box, and TC was in the right place.
How pleased are you for Tyreece and everything he has done for the side this season? Yeah. I think the goal was the thing that was missing, and he's got that today.
Yeah, you know what, TC is a great player. I feel like what he does off the ball, on the ball, is very much overlooked. We know how crucial he is to the team. He's only 22 as well. He's got so much talent and ability. Hopefully this goal is just the start for him, and he can just keep building on that, because he's got a bright future ahead of him.
So as the strike force, has the amount of goals you've been scoring this season sort of been playing on everyone's mind?
I mean, it can do, but me personally, not really. I just see it as an attacker. Like, I always got opportunities. I think I should have scored. I had an opportunity against Coventry where I should have scored. Ipswich should have scored. But I know if I'm getting these chances, they're just going to keep coming. Obviously, the minutes that I've got been quite limited. So, like, in terms of the opportunities that I've got, I'm quite happy with how I've turned them over, and I know more opportunities are going to come.
Yeah, especially, let's say, starting today. That's what you want to see more of. Every player wants to start every game, I know, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And, once you starting games, you can build momentum. And for me, I think momentum's key for me. I'll become more robust, and, I think, the team, the fans will be able to see what I can truly offer for the team. I think today was a glimpse of that, and just how I can contribute and affect the team going forwards.
been a tough run, obviously, with the defeats and the injuries and playing all of the top sides, it feels like every week. But I mean, this is definitely something to build on now to take into big run of games over Christmas.
Yeah, we've had a tough run, but I don't think that's any excuse. Like, I don't want to make excuses for our team. You know, we know what level we're going into, and we know it's a championship. We've got a strong team. We've got a squad for a reason, so we got to be able to rely on the players to step up and, you know, keep performing. And yeah, as you said, I hope this today marks just a turnover of a new page, just to build on that and just get the 3 points next week.
Yeah, is there like an awareness in the squad of the games we have got coming up, or against side sort of in and around where we're currently sitting in the table?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we go into every game trying to win, trying to get any points, you know. So we're fully aware of the situation that we're in and the teams that we're playing, that they're must-win games. So yeah, we're going into it fully confident, and just today, you know, I feel like it showed just the belief in the team spirit and just to keep pushing to the final whistle.
There we go. That's Tanto speaking to me after yesterday's game. Tash, does he have to start next week now? It started yesterday. TC obviously didn't start. I mean, it's a headache, isn't it? So TC comes off the bench, similar to the Ipswich game, and plays well. I mean, the Ipswich game was still his best performance of the season. Both of which are games where he's come off the bench. Tanto, bustling energy. We know what he can do, and then product yesterday, same as TC. He got sort of got an assist. Statistically, like I say, I'm not convinced it goes to him. So you are now Nathan Jones, Tash, who starts next week.
I wouldn't want to be Nathan Jones in this situation. I think I'm inclined to start Tanto again, to be honest. I say that purely not because I don't want TC to play, because I do, but I think having him out of the heat for a bit is benefiting him. We could see that yesterday. So I think having him coming on was great yesterday. I think one thing that has been pointed out to me about Birmingham is sometimes they need people at pace to go at them, to threaten them. And I think that did work yesterday, bringing TC on like that. So I think it's particularly against Oxford, if, you know, at the moment they're pretty low on confidence. They're down the bottom of the table as well. I think it's already hard to deal with the likes of Lee Burn and Tanto, to be honest, to the physical presence and then what else they bring. But then if you're also going to chuck on pace at them, particularly at home, then I think that works better. And then obviously you've got the question of bringing on Apter as well, which he could get an opportunity against Oxford. I think if there is going to be any game that he's going to get a chance, it'd probably be him. So yeah, I think tiring them out and then having people come on with pace is something that we do tend to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jones does that again. But yeah, very impressed with Tanto yesterday. I hope he does get that assist, but also I think he's also been unlucky not to have any more goals. Like, obviously, that effort against Borough, I've actually not watched it back since. But at the time, I thought, oh, God, I really, really wish that had gone in, obviously, for the point of us getting a point, but just for his confidence. But anyway, it doesn't seem to have affected him too much yesterday, because he seemed to, you know, really be going at it against Birmingham. So hopefully that can continue against Oxford and beyond. But yeah, I think I back Tanto to carry on starting, to be honest with you, and then TC having come on and hopefully do something against Oxford.
Yeah, Dudley says that Tanto seemed like he'd chilled a bit by the time I spoke to him. Norman says that I have that calming influence on people. Stuart says that we were a lot closer yesterday to the performance levels of earlier in the season. Yeah, so I mean, particularly in the second half. That's what I thought. And the only Freeman's just asking, he says, just out of curiosity, isn't it usually the goal scorer who does the interview? Why didn't TC get them, or is it just spread around? It's not always the goal scorer. Sometimes it is spread around. We wouldn't have many interviews if it's only the goal scorer sometimes, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I mean, I mean, also I don't know, but I think TC might feel like he's still got a little point to prove at the moment, so maybe he wants to let his football do the talking, which he normally does anyway, to be fair. Obviously he doesn't, I don't think he massively enjoys doing interviews, but yeah, hopefully he really kicks on after yesterday. Next few weeks, Ben, absolutely massive. It's funny, isn't it? So other than the Coventry game, we're obviously top of the league on New Year's Day, we're playing the two teams sitting just inside the relegation zone, and we're playing the two teams sitting just above the relegation zone. All of those games are before January, I think the 5th or the 4th, but when we play Blackburn. So Blackburn sitting 2 places above it. Obviously, Pompey, I think, are just outside it. Oxford and Norwich sitting just inside it. I mean, this is a massive, massive run of games before the transfer window bites. If we sign anyone in the first couple of days of January and they're going to come in and be absolute game changers, and I'll be surprised. Yeah, that stage. But these are 4 massive, massive games coming up for us now. Nathan did hint there might be a couple coming back in the next few days. I mean, but I'll never count my chickens with that. But this next run of games between now and New Year, I mean, it will really decide if we're going to have a nice, comfortable 2025, or if we're going to be biting our nails, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, isn't it? I think I've fully got confidence in them that we'll start heading back up the table. But as you said, we've got to start turning these games into valuable points that we really need. I think if you look at the table, Portsmouth and Norwich both picked up big wins for them yesterday. So then you kind of feel the pressure's on, and you kind of think, well, I don't think we'll be involved in it, but we can't keep saying it and then be on a run that we are. Obviously, unfortunate that with the Portsmouth game that we thought, oh, there you go, that's where we can pick up a win again. And obviously that game didn't happen, and we got them coming up again. So, yeah, these are the games now. Nathan keeps saying in interviews we've been on a massive, tough run of fixtures. Well, we got some fixtures coming up now where they're not as tough. We're playing teams below us, the teams that have already changed their manager, teams like Portsmouth, who their fans are really on their manager and their owners' backs. There's a bit of discontent there. We've got to capitalise on that. And if there's players back, I pray one of them's Amari Bell and we're not rushing him back like we did against Coventry, because I really feel like teams try and exploit us down that side. But I felt like Ibby had a good game there yesterday that kind of helped our balance of our team. And we can really go. And there's Tanto there, he sounded quite confident. I mean, he's missed a few chances, but I feel like yesterday, not having him as the main striker, but having someone a real nuisance just running at them and putting them under pressure, and having our press good like that takes the pressure off him to be able to then set up chances for Miles or Sonny Carey or players getting in the box. I think that was one big thing for me yesterday. Sorry, going back, that when we did score that goal, we had about 4 or 5 men in the box ready to take that chance, whether TC did or not. And I feel like we haven't done that as much. So I feel the last 2 second halves we've played against Borough and against Birmingham, I feel like we've come out and we've been a lot more attacking, and as Nathan says, a lot more ourselves. So yeah, really hoping now we can have a couple back. That'd be great. Hopefully maybe Kelman, maybe Bell, and look a lot more confident. That point now, we've got it off our back and we can really go into that Oxford game. And first half at home, we've been very good at previous to these Southampton game and the Borough game and that. And hopefully that can give us some confidence and take the pressure off a little bit. And another full week off, no Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And yeah, it can really give us a boost now going into these games, because we've got the confidence. We know what these players can do. It's a big point yesterday. Take confidence from it and let's take it on until we get some recruits in January.
Yeah, and Side points out, those 4 games we've just been talking about, only one of them's at home. I feel like we've played away every bloody week this season. The second half of the season is just going to be one big long valley fest, isn't it? Like, just going to be at home every week. Right, emails. Richard says that was a much needed positive result yesterday. I agree that TC looked better coming off the bench rather than starting. Perhaps Tanto would be better with a run of games under his belt. That miss by Leeburn was awful. He's not looked happy all season. So that makes him wonder. The defence looks shattered. There's plenty of issues that need sorting, but having said that, I still think we'll have enough to stay up. Oxford at home is a must-win for me. Then a tough trip to an improving Norwich side. Hopefully 4 points from those games. And McSquared said, all of our attacking options currently seem to be far more effective when coming off the bench. Would it be worth naming them all as subs and just bringing them all on in the second half? That's a good idea. Just start with a solid 10 formation. And then as the game progresses, get into the reverse Christmas tree. 'Tis the season, of course, but the reverse Christmas tree formation, and just play 5 strikers in the second half of games. We still haven't talked about the FA Cup draw, Tom. So I do want to end the show talking about that. Chelsea at home feels like a great draw, exciting one. It's going to be a 8 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday night as well, which it's an unusual kickoff time. But to be fair, that feels like quite a good one, because you get all the excitement of playing under the lights, but you get all the build-up of being in Wetherspoons at midday still. So, that's going to be some day, that is.
That sounds like it for you anyway, yeah. Yeah, a really good draw. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? We obviously had the Man United one in the League Cup a few years ago, and I'm slightly disappointed, if I'm being picky, that it's not at Stamford Bridge. It'd be nice to go there, but to bring them to our place, it's a good test, isn't it? I can't imagine they've got, how many players have they got now? 500, is it? 600? So naming the starting 11 will be interesting, and I can't imagine they'll necessarily be full strength, but it gets our players up. I'm sure they're going to want to represent themselves and showcase themselves on a stage against, let's not forget, Club World Cup champions or whatever they are. So statistically, the best team in the world, I think. So it will be an interesting one. And like you say, under the lights at the Valley is always special. So hopefully, sometimes when it's a cup game, it can put people off. But I'd like to think with a big club like that coming to town, we'll sell out, and hopefully it's ticketed sensibly and good price and just gets people through the door. I think, it could be a fun night, whatever happens in terms of result.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw Enzo Maresca's post-match press conference yesterday, but he described how it'd been the most difficult 48 hours of his Chelsea career. We've got in his head already. Ever since the draw, he's falling apart. Can't wait for it. Right, let's leave it there. As Norm says, credit to Birmingham for putting Norman's picture up on the big screen and the minute's applause as well. Yeah, everyone, I'm sure, really appreciated that yesterday. Right, we've run out of time on this week's Charlton Live. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us on the show. Hope you've enjoyed it as we look back at yesterday's good 1-1 draw up at Birmingham City. Tash, Ben and Tom, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Lovely
guys.
stuff. Lovely stuff. I'm Louis Mendez. We'll be back on Thursday to look ahead to the Oxford game. Then next Sunday, we'll be looking back at the Oxford game and our Christmas special. So make sure you join us for those two on YouTube, 7 o'clock on Thursday, 10 a.m. Next Sunday. But for now, I'm Louis Mendez. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. Thanks for your time today. We'll see you again on Thursday.